I'm
Anyways,
sure there's some
what's
people trying
next,
to make some
Oscar?
money out of that. Like, I'm sure there's some people trying to make money out of that. But I mean, what's next? That is the question, actually. What is next? So what happens after all of this happens? I was told today, don't tell anybody, but I was told today that we're going to be shutting down our office indefinitely. We're all
Wait,
going to
what?
be working remote until the next year. So it's like the
Crazy.
expectation is already that. So, and I'm
I
sure
feel it's
we're
a
not the
cultural
first.
shift.
Yeah,
Oh.
we're not the first company who's thinking this, right? It's like we're saving
Right.
ourselves actually like $1.5 million just on fucking like rent. Excuse my French, but it's an interesting shift, and I'm curious to see what you guys think. Like, how does it affect you guys? Like, I already know, like, I have to work from home, but that also means that I don't have to live in San Francisco anymore. I could live down back at home in Orange County or in San Diego or Los Angeles, or, you know, I can move to
So
Nepal and, man, live like,
Hey.
yeah, no cases there barely.
there you go. 0 cases in Kathmandu, dude. Like,
It gets really bad. He's got to kick rocks to fucking.
Dude, they
Somewhere.
beat you. Like, if you are outside, like,
Oh, yeah, that's
breaking the
right.
curfew.
Never mind.
I don't
you
go
were getting
outside,
beat.
bro. I've been here. Do they have Uber Eats? Do they have Postmates? That's all I need.
None of that.
No, they got a guy. You just, like, you pay him, they'll just bring it to you.
Even better.
At this
Like,
point,
if
if I just have a place to
No app. There's no
shit,
app.
shower, and work out and eat, I'm good.
Hey, so, like,
Basics, yeah.
so your work, like, so you could be working from home forever, though. That's like, it could be a thing, you know?
If you like this company, yeah.
Yeah, potentially. I mean, like that.
But
could
that's
be,
not. But that's not with just his company, though. I feel like that's a trend that's happening. Like,
It very
You know,
well could be, yeah. No, I agree. I think we're finding that through adapting to this like environment, we're doing more Zoom meetings. We're finding that we're able to do this. Honestly, for my job, I've been super effective over here, like just working from home. Like in terms of
it's
what
like
I
patting
actually,
his back. I've been doing work.
what
My
do you
boss
have
is
to do?
watching.
Like you can fucking
A
excuse me, but
plus.
you can do so much of what we do. You do before from your home
No, I know.
office. I mean, like, there's a lot of like our positions that it's just like we kind of go in more for like that developing that cultural bond, if anything. Like my company is
Yeah.
not super hard on be in the office by this time or that time, but like it's just a communal thing. So how will we get that back? I think.
So how do you think it's going to change? So like, let's say this ends next year, people start going back to the workforce. Like,
Yeah.
you think people are going to start hiring more remote people? You think people are going to like the entire dynamics? You think it's going to change?
It'll be like what Oscar was saying. Like there's going to be a lot of companies that say like when they're doing their spreadsheets and they're measuring out their bottom line, like, hey, if our rent is like in a very like heavy type of area, just give the people a little more money on their check to do like their home office, to do their own place.
No owner is thinking to give more money to his employee, dude. It's about increasing profit. The
But-
bottom line.
No, but
That's
if you
part
think
of it,
about
though.
it, but if you think about it, a $2,000 stipend one time for them to pay for their home office is better than paying for like catered lunch, paying for the utility, the wireless, all that goes included into having that office adds up to more than $2,000 a month.
But here's the thing.
You know, so
you can't write that off as a contract employee if you are you know what I'm saying? Like you're W-2.
What do you mean? They won't be contract employees.
Yeah, I know, but I'm saying like
It'll still be W-2.
No, what I'm saying is like you're paying for your own cost of like electricity, cost of internet, like cost from working from home. $2,000 one time is not going to cut it.
No, for sure.
Yeah.
But that's the expectation.
But in their minds.
So as an
Pay 'em
employee,
off.
that's
Pay 'em
a
off
cost that I take on as an employee is my own, unless they offer some sort of like reimbursement on Wi-Fi or something.
I think they'll do that. I think that's where we're heading. I think
Yeah.
that is where I think they're going to give you like a work from home stipend, like $500, $300 a month.
Dude,
I think that's.
My company's already done that. So $50 we can use right off for your internet if you're paying like $50 or so.
There you
more.
go. See.
Done. So that's already like being implemented. And then in addition to that, they're like, put your cell phone bill on your corporate card. Don't worry about that. Obviously, you're only using that for business now. And like, I think they're doing little bits to just adapt, right? So like, that's where they are paying the reoccurring office cost, right?
Yeah.
But it's still
Yeah.
cheaper.
You also have to, not for everybody, but for some people, it's very significant. The fact that you don't have to commute, just the time and the gas, that can be a lot for some people. I've experienced that before. I've experienced where before we were how much time round trip per day? Hour and a half.
2 hours, dude, every day we were commuting.
And then it was ridiculous. And then we also experienced, like you walk to work. I've worked really close to home, and that it really helps. But I mean, yes, obviously there's going to be both sides of the envelope.
I think people are more productive now because just the fact that you're home, I mean, I think the coronavirus has to do a lot with people being more productive at work right now. But if you're working from home, like, and you have to work, like, you're gonna figure it out. And I feel like you work more because, like, you don't go out to go get lunch. Like, you do it right there. Yeah.
There's also like, I don't know, it's like a part of me or a part of people, maybe I'm not the only one, but it's like a feeling of like I almost had to show more like I'm working because like you don't see me working like all the time, right? So it's like I almost have to
that's true.
It's like I had to kind of I don't know, show off more a little bit, but or flex a little bit more, which causes me to work harder.
I was gonna say, I think that there's a, like, kind of what you're saying, Oscar, like you kind of want to report what you've been doing so they know your value. And there might even be like underlying, like there's a little bit of a fear for people to be laid off, right? Because as people are measuring that bottom line and stuff, people are thinking, how long can I hold off this business? Because usually we're used to a certain amount of revenue each month. We're not getting that.
Dude, we just laid off like 6 people today.
There it is. Yeah, there's thoughts of that. There's talk going around, and a lot of businesses. I don't think anyone's immune to the coronavirus and the impact.
So, what do you think? What do you think is going to happen? Let's just say this. It's kind of hard to say this, but let's just say a scenario where we can all return to normal work. There's no social distancing anymore. What's going to happen with the workforce? Is there going to be this huge influx of like what's going to happen? Something's going to happen.
That's going to take at least a year. I feel like people can't go out without a vaccine because we're seeing cases of where people are getting the virus back.
Oh yeah.
Like people that have had it cured and then got it back.
Immunity is temporary, short-term immunity. From what I understand, you have a short-term immunity and then you're susceptible again.
So until they find a cure, and that could, unless you just say, hey, even then, if you say, hey, screw it, we're all going to go back, and then like a lot of people are going to die and you don't have immunity, then it just means a lot of people to die for no reason. So like, where is the line? So
did you hear about the theory potentially that until they have a vaccine, this is just going to be a seasonal thing? Like like they say, like some people experts are saying, the summer might tone it down, at least not kill it, but tone it down. There'll be like a period of calm, and then it's just going to be a seasonal thing. What do you think about that idea?
So my thing is like the Earth, like how it's like shaped on what axis it sits on. There's always a hemisphere where it's hot or cold. Right. So we're having cases in like, South Africa, or like having cases in Australia or like the Philippines where it's really hot right now, or whatever the temperature is. Like they're having cases. So like the weather has to do nothing with like.
But you have to, it may reduce it, like it not maybe get rid of it, but like you can't say, because those are kind of remote areas anyway. Some may argue.
So I think it's just not conclusive. I feel like people don't want to risk it. I just feel like
we'll see when we see.
Until you have a vaccine, I don't think people want to risk of a second breakout somewhere.
Yeah. I think they're hoping it's like the flu where it kind of disappears like in a seasonal basis. And it's something that they can kind of like manage or control a little bit more, but it's like a hope,